Hi, my name is Edgar Sanchez. I am a senior software architect at SpearmanTech. This is the third video in a series intended to show the features of SpearmanTech License Vault. In this video, I will show you how to generate license keys for the product created in the previous video in this series. This video assumes that you have created a product in a previous step and that the License Vault is running in trial mode with a limit of one product and one license key. So let's get started. First, go ahead and locate the License Vault Management Console on your desktop and double click that, get it open. Go ahead and log in using your username and password. In this series I've been using service user as the default username. Go ahead and log in, and we want to see that we have an available product pre-configured. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and hit the generate new key button, which will begin the key generation process for us. Let's go ahead and do that. Click that and it opens up this window. You'll notice that the first available product is selected every time you click the generate new key button, and since we only have one product, be it product number 1, we're going to go ahead and leave that option the same. Otherwise, if you had other products, you could use the drop down and pick the product you were trying to create the new key for. The next field is, as you can see, the seller ID. That way you can store information about who sold the key, be it a person or an entity of some sort. Next you have the order ID, which allows you to associate this key with a specific order, and you can just enter any string of information in there. Next you'll have the email address. That is the email address of your customer. Now a good note here is that if you're going to create a large quantity of keys, you more than likely want to leave this blank, because unless you're about to distribute a large number of keys to a single entity, the emails will probably be different from one key to the next. Storing emails here makes it possible to keep track of who owns the key, and thereby, through the License Vault integration system, you can then take that email information and use it to do things like sending an email with the license key in it, or contacting customers who have bought a certain product or whose licenses are about to expire. Things like that can be done through the License Vault integration client, DLL. So that's the purpose of storing an email here. Next you have something called a secret info. The idea behind that is that you can enter any type of information you would like to process in your program. When the validation process occurs in your application, a license is returned to your product. So within that license is the secret info, and so you can use that secret info when your application is running to process your program in some way that is affected by this license. I've used in other products, as far as we use License Vault as well to do things like the secret info, to store things like the number of seats a customer has purchased, or options that we want to enable or disable. And so it becomes just a way to program to make the key more functional in your program. The next thing you'll notice is we have a is trial checkbox, and that way by checking this box, you're saying that this license key has the ability to expire, and as you can see, there's an expire date below that. The expire date is standard. It automatically sets to a year from today. So every time you create a new key, you'll want to see, that you might want to modify that if you plan to have this key expire. Now, if you leave the is trial checkbox unchecked, the validation system will ignore any expiration date you give it, but it will still have an expiration date even though it is not a trial. So that's the key difference. Um, the next field you have is the number of keys you want to generate. So if you want to create 20 keys, you would enter 20 there. Now we have a limit of 1 key here because we're running in trial mode. So if we were to enter 20 and hit OK, we would get a message saying this database cannot create this number of additional keys, please upgrade. So you'll want to be mindful of how many licenses you've already created in the system before you go and try to create an inordinate amount of keys. Otherwise it'll fail. So let me go back in there and put some values in these fields. I'm just going to put NA for these, and email I'm going to put sales@SpearmanTech.com, and secret info, let's say I'm going to put 20, 24, 25, representing the number of seats that this key is going to open in the client. And then is this a trial? No. I'm going to leave it unchecked. Now granted, this is running in trial mode, so any key that I create will automatically be treated as a trial anyway. So it really is irrelevant to change that during this video. Keys to generate, just the one, because that's all we have. That's all we have room for. Hit OK, and immediately it returns the last key that was entered, that was generated, I should say. And hit OK. And then if you want to go ahead and take a look at the key, you can hit product, and by clicking on the product, it goes and pulls all the licenses that are assigned to that product. So this is the license we've just created. Now as you can see by looking at the key, it is being divided by the delimiter settings that we set when we were looking at products in the previous video. And so that's neat, that you don't have to go and worry about the formatting of the license key for each key. Rather, you apply the formatting rule to the product, and all the keys that are created for that product follow that rule, and it saves from having to configure individual keys. You'll also notice the product name appears, and whether the product is in the license key is enabled, the date the key was created, the email that was assigned to it, the secret info comes out as well, so you can verify what if you were planning to use secret info to store the number of seats. You could easily see that you had 25 seats available. Is it a trial? The expiration date, the order ID, validation, and then finally we have these three here. We have this one called note, which we didn't see, and we also have validation count and machine ID, which we didn't see during the creation process. So let's go and take a look at and see what those fields are. I'm going to double click on the key, and it opens up this edit key info screen.